Okay, so this is just a small presentation of the documents that are available for the investment. You can go on the FlexUp app or flexup.org website, click on the documents link. This will send you to a Notion page where you can have some explanation regarding the documents that will be part of the investment agreement. Basically, there is the FlexUp Charter, which Lara will sign. That basically is similar to the bylaws of a company. This determines how the project will be run as a FlexUp project. And then you have the specific documents related to an investment contract. 3 documents are special conditions, so specific to your investment contract, specific to this funding round, and specific to True Local Heroes. These will be made available shortly once we finish a legal review. They will be made available as to Lara as Word documents, and they will be adjusted, and then a final version will be saved and shared by Lara as a PDF file that you can review and sign. These 3 documents instead are standard FlexUp documents published by FlexUp, made available on the website, and these are cast in stone and are the same for all projects and investment contracts worldwide. They may be updated periodically by FlexUp, but they're not to be modified or shared by, these are not to be modified by the users. They are referred to in the contracts, but they are not, they're not customized. These are the same documents for all projects and all users worldwide. You can download them here. For now, it's a temporary Dropbox folder. And let's review these one by one. So you have the investment special conditions, where basically you will, Lara will do this for you, but it will basically put your details. Actually, I'm going to open it here. So the investor SC, this contains, so everything in the highlights will be deleted. It's just for information, but you will get a nice clean document to review and sign. The template incorporates some instructions on how to use the template. But basically, this is the document that you sign. It should be a 2-page document with just your name and identity, whether it's yourself investing or a company that you can use as an investment vehicle. It designates the company receiving the funds, which is True Local Hero. Which funding round are we talking about? So we're calling this the 2024 Friends and Family Funding Round for True Local Heroes. And then simply how much you are willing to invest and a detail of the securities that you will get in exchange. And you also need to specify your qualification. Are you an accredited investor? Are you a non-accredited investor who is sufficiently sophisticated to assess the risks? Or are you a non-accredited investor who is sufficiently wealthy to bear the loss of the investment? So these 3 options are further detailed in the other documents, including the investor guide, which has a very detailed explanation of what these 3. But basically, you need to select one of these 3 options. So that's actually a very short 2-3 page document. This is the one that you need to review and sign. This document includes the description of all the documents that are part of the contract. So the special condition is the one we're just looking at. The funding round special condition. So this is basically detailing what are the terms of this funding round. So Lara needs to fill this in for this round. Oh, sorry. And then she will be sharing that, and this will be an appendix to the contract. Then the charter special condition. So this is again, Lara will fill this in, and this will basically specify what is the project? In this case, the project is the company True Local Hero Incorporated with some specific information. And these 3 documents are specific to this situation. All the other 3 documents are generic. So one of them, the investment additional condition, are specific for a private offering of securities by a non-listed US company. And this is where the situations we're in, right? So True Local Heroes Incorporated is a US company. It's doing a private offering of securities. This offering is subject to SEC regulation. And so we have a special document that ensures that everything we're doing complies with SEC regulation. The next general condition is a general condition that applies to all FlexUp agreements related to investments. And it basically explains, how the funding round is managed, in which cases you are entitled to receive stocks in the company. There's a few words to explain the difference between stocks and securities, the FlexUp securities. And then you have the FlexUp general conditions, the FlexUp Charter. This is quite a long document. It's about 65 pages long. You're free to read it, but it can be quite lengthy. And this really explains how the FlexUp model works. So it really covers everything, including governance, transfer of securities, what happens in case of liquidation. Very detailed document that covers a lot of different topics. It can be an overkill to read everything on the first pass, but rest assured that basically this is standard document that will apply to all FlexUp projects worldwide. So it's not been adapted in any way by Lara for this specific contract. This is a very generic contract. So reviewing the next documents in line, let's have a look at the next document. We have the funding round special conditions. So this is based on a FlexUp template, but we've already made some adjustments, and these will be cleaned up by the time you receive it. But I just wanted to leave everything highlighted so you see which part of the document is a standard text from the template and which part of the document has been adapted for this specific funding round. So these are the funding round special conditions. So we need to describe what is the company, the currency, the country, the type of contract, the funding round this refers to. We clarify that this is, specifically funding round for private offerings, and that makes the link to the appropriate additional conditions, which are related to this type of funding round. We have an opening date and closing date, so we may adjust these dates because we're already the 6th of August. We have a minimum and maximum funding amount. So if we don't reach the minimum, the round is canceled. If we have more subscription than the maximum, then there is a oversubscription resolution mechanism that determines who can invest and how much. And we need to actually clarify in this, we have to add a section, or it's maybe here already. Oh yeah, we need to select which of the 3 available resolution mechanisms will apply for this round. So either it's first come, first serve, or pro rata, or capped. The payment structure, so this may be strange when you first read it because you're paying the investment amount to True Local Heroes, right? But this section actually doesn't refer to how you will be paying True Local Heroes. What it says is the opposite, is how True Local Heroes will repay you for your investment. And what it's saying here is that this funding round is based on this payment structure, 100% simple credit. So if you put $10,000, you will receive $10,000 of simple credits, of basically credits that are not bearing any interest. That's what it means. So simple credit is a type of payment term that is described in the charter. And 100% simple credit means that all of the money will be repaid in this fashion as simple credits. Now, the risk factor associated to simple credit is 80%. And I have here a little section explaining what it means, but there's a lot more details on what risk factor means in the charter. And Lara has also provided some explanation in her investor brief that she's sending to all the participants. So I'm, of course, very happy to have a call to explain this in more detail. But this is one of the core mechanisms of the FlexUp model, is that for each type of payment structure, we calculate a risk factor. And this risk factor determines how many tokens you get, since the tokens are the way we reward the risk that you take in the project. So the token index is currently $283. It started at $100 when the project started, and it increased by 25% per year. So it's a fixed annual increase in the token index. This may change in the future when we do a price round and an expert does a proper valuation once we have steady or foreseeable cash flows. But at the very early startup stage, there's no way to have a realistic valuation. So instead of doing a future revenue-based valuation, we just look at a cost-based valuation, and we include risk and time-related indexing rate that reflects basically how risky it is to invest in a startup at this stage. Then we have a breakdown of the current valuation. So basically, it's a summary of all the contributions provided by Lara so far, taking into account that risk that she took with the same 80% risk factor, and that determines how many tokens she received. And some tokens have also been issued to employees. We have a little, in the investor brief, we have a little table that provides an overview of this. Bear in mind that this valuation is the value as of today. It may change between now and the closing date, because by definition, FlexUp equity is a dynamic system. So there's new equity being generated every day whenever Lara pays some suppliers or some employees with credits or tokens. But in the coming months, it won't be more than $20,000 issued. So basically, this is a good idea of the pre-money valuation. So a total about $850,000. So if we raise a total of $150,000, the post-money valuation would be around $1 million. Now, once you sign this agreement, you will need to wait until Lara sends you a drawdown request. I need to rename this. It's not a notice anymore. It's a drawdown request saying, yes, we've achieved the minimum amount. We are not oversubscribed. So please go ahead and transfer the money that you had initially signed up for. And if we're oversubscribed or undersubscribed, the drawdown notice will be adjusted accordingly. So you need to wait until you receive the drawdown notice to transfer the funds. And this is the bank account details. We also clarify, just for the sake of being super clear, that these are restricted securities, so the transfer restrictions apply. The tokens can be that is not correct. I need to change it. They will not be converted to stock, but they give you the right to receive stock in the company once the company does a proper capital increase with all the formalities for changing the company's capital. This probably will take place in a future funding round, but it could actually take place at any time. And the charter guarantees equal treatment between stocks and tokens. And also it guarantees equality of treatment between all participants in this funding round. And generally, we can include exceptions or extensions in the contract compared to the general conditions, but in this case, there will be no extensions or exceptions. So once you're familiar with the general conditions, you can just be confident that you're investing on exactly the same term as the previous times. So it makes it very simple that you don't need to double check everything, because once you're familiar with the FlexUp model, it's always the same. The next document that you can take a look at is the investment AC, which is basically the additional conditions specifically for a private offering in non-listed US companies exempt from SEC registration. So that's where we are going to do another final legal review with a US lawyer, make sure that we're capturing all the requirements from SEC regulation. Some of the terminology is, the terminology that we use here is specific to US legislation. So that's why we have a section here saying, by the way, when we use the word offering, but what it really means is funding round. We use the word company, but in the charter we use different words, but these are basically the same. Next document is the charter. So the FlexUp charter has the special conditions again. So these are basically final. Lara will sign them soon as we finish legal review. But it's very short. It just says, what is a project? Actually, I have them for True Local Heroes. Here it is. So basically, the project is True Local Heroes. This project, the holder has a single project. So again, this is a bit of technical FlexUp jargon. It basically says that this company, True Local Heroes, is dedicated to this project. It doesn't do anything else. Whereas in the FlexUp model, you can have a holder, which is, for example, a company that is managing several projects, and each project is a separate FlexUp project with a separate accounting system. So in this case, we don't have that. We have a single company that has a single project. So project and holder actually means the same thing. And in investment contract, we just call it company. So project, holder, and company are all the same thing. Lara is the representative of the company. I will be acting as a secretary for the purpose of the FlexUp charter only. It doesn't mean I'm the secretary of True Local Heroes, Inc. That is something else. I'm just a secretary for things regarding the FlexUp charter. So this project started in 2020. Actually, we need to change this. It's 1st of January. In the US, in dollars. And in this company, we already have stocks. Specifically, Lara has 1,500 stocks. These are common stocks. And whenever new stocks are issued, people that have tokens will receive or will have the option to ask for stocks. And we will guarantee that one stock has the same financial rights as a token. So basically, one token is the same as one stock. Even if you don't hold stocks in the company from day one, you will have the option to get stocks as soon as there is a stock issue. And one token will be equal to one stock, to make it very simple. And again, here, there are no exceptions and no extensions. So Lara is applying the terms of the charter, plain vanilla. And now we have the FlexUp charter itself. It's quite a long document. I'm not going to describe it all now. But basically, so the charter is composed of two documents, the special conditions that we just looked at, and the general conditions, which is this document. The objective is to define how the project will be managed and how the associates can share the risks and the profits of the project. We have a lot of sections and appendices. So we talk about what is a holder, who is a secretary. There will be a council, so up to 5 members. So basically, representative of the investors and the employees that hold stocks, which we call associates. There's no distinction between an investor and a team member. If you own tokens, you are considered an associate. And associates can elect a council that will represent them for many decisions in the life of the project. The assembly represents all the token holders, and they also have to vote on certain things. Mostly the governance of the FlexUp project, as described in the charter, relates to how we manage cash. So FlexUp it's a cash management system. It determines how we use cash and how we allocate excess cash to the associates. Everything regarding the day-to-day management of the True Local Hero company and project, that is up to the bylaws of the company to determine. For now, we just have a board composed of Lara exclusively. So there's a few sections about management and governance, but it's mostly about transparency, conflict of interest, regulated operations, blah, blah, blah. But mostly FlexUp is about cash and financial management, more specifically cash management. So we have a monthly cycle, which is basically a cash waterfall. We first pay the firm outflows, basically firm. Anything that is not a FlexUp related payment, anything that we need to pay to someone who did not sign up to the FlexUp charter, we need to pay first. And then we pay preferred, based, flex, and superflex. In this case, so far, we have none of this. So far, we only have cash payments, which we call firm here, and then credits. And credits are not paid on a monthly basis, they're paid on an annual basis. So that's why we have the annual cycle. So the annual cycle describes how we use the excess cash. So it's all about how we use the excess cash. Net excess cash. So by default, the net excess cash on an annual basis is used to put some money aside for the strategic reserve, some money to repay the credits, and then a bit of money to buy the credit to the tokens if and when people want to sell their tokens. There's a little bit of money put aside to buy the tokens, and a little bit to distribute basically dividends. They're not really dividends, so that's why I call it distribution, but basically sharing the profits amongst the tokens. And then a bit of money to help, local charities or whatever, basically do good for society. So True Local Heroes and all other FlexUp companies are encouraged to be good companies for the society that they live in. So that's basically what the FlexUp charter covers. And then a lot of the rest is really technicalities. For example, how are tokens issued and how can they be converted? Also, rather, how tokens give right to stocks, transfer restrictions. It covers a lot of things. You are free to read it, but if you think it's too complicated or too long, you can basically rest assured that other people have read it and checked it, and that it's the same for everybody. That's the most important, is that these rules apply to everyone. You also have a glossary with a lot of definitions. So anytime you find a term that has a capital letter, for example, flex, you don't know what it means, you can just look it up in the glossary. All right, I think that's all for now. It's a very quick overview of the documents that were that we're going to share with you. Thank you.
Fabrizio, that was very well explained. Thank you so much. Wow, that was comprehensive, but also very easy to understand. And I think you did a really good job just laying it out. Yeah, I think FlexUp is beautiful. And I love that piece about putting some money away for the good of society. Love that. I love that.
Great.
Okay. Let's.
Okay. Yeah, you can